Great to see you here. This is the last video of lesson 5, and here I want to talk about change management, the principles of change management when you will be dealing with projects. We will look at project and changes, with managed changes, the effect of the changes on the baselines, and possible errors due to changes related to the baselines. So first, let's have a look at the project and the changes. Like we said in the beginning, projects are typically unique, and it also means that there is a certain level of uncertainty, and we should anticipate changes. Even in a typical waterfall methodology, deterministic methodology, we may anticipate that some changes will happen. Now, in waterfall, it's very difficult to apply changes. It's not easy to do so. There is a lot of work to do and a lot of work to be redone. Now, the thing is, when you have certain elements, when you have a longer term project, and you know that there are, for example, IT methods and elements included, you may expect that there will be updates over that period. So these are things that you always have to take into account. You can also say, okay, there may be some important change on the market that may have a very important positive effect on your project or a negative effect, and you have to do something about that. In an adaptive environment, it's very easy to adjust the scope. Change management is not as important as in a deterministic environment, because every sprint or in Kanban we can in fact apply those changes immediately. We agree with the customer, we adjust the scope, and we can start with it. We didn't do all the effort to create all those schedules and all that work that has to be redone. Now, we will have changes, and it is important that we manage them properly. Now, when we don't manage the changes properly, we talk about creep, and creep, like we spoke about before, will increase costs and risks, and some items may even cause the project to fail. So it's very important to understand that there will be changes, but also to understand that we cannot just accept them without any formal management system. The management of changes is in fact very important, very described and detailed in a deterministic environment, and we have to define the change management, how it will happen, what are the procedures and what are the processes. The changes can only be implemented when they have been approved and new baselines have been provided. It is also very important to document all the changes in a register, including the name of the requester, but also the actions that have been taken. And we can send the changes back, we can refuse them already, or there may be other reasons. Now, whoever is related or working on the project, even the project owner, even the client, it's very important to evaluate the effect of the changes on the project. When a customer or the boss asks for a change, that change may have unwanted effects when we just would implement it. Changes that are eligible will be reviewed by the team related to cost, scope, risk, and other parameters. Of course, we have to see that we are still within the scope of the project, let's say the charter and the business case, and the change control board will decide what to do. And we have to define who is in the change control board. There will be representatives of the customer, the project managers of both sides, and some other people who are stakeholders to the project. And it's only after a formal approval that the changes will be implemented. As long as there is no formal approval, the changes will not be implemented. We started with the baselines, and when we start with a project, we have the initial baselines. And the approved changes will become an integral part of the project. And we have to change the project plan. We have to adjust the project plan to reflect those changes. We draw a new plan and we find adjusted baselines. These baselines will be the ones to follow during project execution, monitoring, control. We have to be sure that we're using the correct baselines. If we would be monitoring and controlling or even executing using the old baselines, we will have problems. We will not comply with the newly approved conditions. A project manager should be aware that the most recent baselines have to be used, and they have to assure that the team is working with the correct baselines. From now on, the old baselines are void and should not be used anymore. When we apply these things and when we do changes, these things can be very tricky when we look at the waterfall project type. And we have to be able to adjust the elements to be sure that we are using or that we are implementing everything without any errors. Another thing to do is that the entire plan has been developed at the beginning. And when we change something in the middle of the plan, we have to redo a very large part of the pre-approved plan. So a lot of work must have to be redone. And of course, this is a problem where we can have, again, errors. Now, when we don't use the updated baselines, we can have the wrong conclusions. We can be executing work that has been removed. We can be doing the wrong things and draw the wrong conclusions from reports. So it's very important to manage these changes very well and avoid all these issues. If we don't manage it well, certainly in the waterfall methodology, in the waterfall method, we will have problems. And it happens. People are doing the wrong activities, are reporting towards the wrong baselines and things like that. So basically, that was the last part of this lesson, the change management and the problems related to change management. You finished lesson 5, and now we are ready to go and continue with lesson 6. Do not forget to complete the discussion board or the other activities you have to do and finish the quiz. Thank you and bye-bye.